And go denyo. Oh, what that day. This is the voice of the Patriot, and here we speak truth to power. Now here we don't criticize, but if we must, it would only be on one condition: to build and not to destroy. That is why we keep saying we are in the service of God and country. This is the voice of the Patriot. And here we are not neutral. We have taken sides, the side of the truth. That is why we are affectionately called the headquarters of the truth. Now today we have a number of issues to look at in our daily editorial. The voice of the Patriot, as usual. And I need you to come along. This is the voice of the Patriot, and my name Blakk Rasta. Now the first story I am looking at today is coming from Ghana Web, and it says, meet the 42-year-old Ghanaian mother with 20 children. Now a 42-year-old woman with 20 children, Faustina in Trema, has appealed to Ghanaians for financial assistance, describing the immense challenge of raising such a large family as a single parent. Faustina, who is a porridge seller, disclosed that she had the children with two husbands, one of whom has passed away. Both of whom have passed away, one in a motor accident and the other from illness, leaving her solely responsible for their upbringing. She explained that her daily earnings are barely enough to cover necessities such as food and education. She noted that despite these hardships, she continues to care for her children, hoping for community support to ease her burden. In an interview with Crime Check Ghana, with my very good friend Ibrahim Opong Kwating, released on December 16, 2025, Faustina shared that she survives by selling porridge but the income is far from sufficient to meet her children's needs. She added that most children often have to rely heavily on porridge because of the lack of other meals. She also mentioned that her eldest child, a son who has completed junior high school, gained admission into Accra Academy, but she cannot afford transport to and from school, which costs 30 cedis daily, even though the tuition is free. So this is one woman who has 20 children. One woman, 20 children. Two husbands, both deceased. It's a sad story, isn't it? But when a nation fails you, this is what you go through. What happened to the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Welfare? What happened to government taking care of some of these children in social welfare? My brother, my sister, some of these things can happen in life. You have a husband, you love the husband, he's a responsible man, all of a sudden he passes away. And then the vicissitudes of life set in. In this case, my brother, my sister, who do you blame? So many responsible people have a very good plan for the future, but sometimes they can be devastated by some things that suddenly happen. I am not advocating that everybody should go out there and have 10 children or 20 children. All I am advocating is that we have to be more responsible so that when calamities befall, at least the nation should be ready to take care. She has 20 children. How many of them are minors? Can the nation absorb them in social welfare? In America, it is done. In Japan, it is done. In Korea, it is done. In England, it is done. To have one child is a whole burden, let alone 20. Is she able to remember the names of all 20 children? I wouldn't be. Can you? Tell me honestly. If you had 20 children, could you remember their names? 20 children. Now at this point, let me look at the family. Yes, the families of these two men who have passed on. Do the families know that their sons had children with a certain woman called Faustina? Why are the families not coming in to support? How about Faustina? Does she have a family at all? The family cannot support either. So two husbands have passed on. Certainly they both did not live in oblivion. They lived in families. And they came from families. Nobody in the family can support the children by adopting one or two. I'm just asking. Now she has to go to the gallery and appeal for fund to take care of 20 children. It's a sad story. She's a cocoa seller. And she says her children depend on cocoa in order to survive. In other words, when you drink cocoa in the morning for breakfast, they go beyond that. It's also their lunch and also their supper. There's a danger here. She's produced future leaders. No doubt about that. Every child is a potential future leader in Ghana. Now, if they are nourished with cocoa, breakfast, lunch, and supper, what happens to protein? What happens to vitamins? What happens to all the other nutrients that are needed for the proper growth of the body and the mind? The children are going to be malnourished. Their brains will be malnourished as well. Can they be proper leaders with malnourished brains? We might sit back and say, oh, she's an irresponsible woman, or she comes from a family that is irresponsible. Why would a woman allow herself to have 20 children? What happened to family planning? But my brother, when we start talking about this, it means that we don't even understand the situation. Leave them out. Say that she's irresponsible. Before you realize, some of them become drug addicts. The next person they rape might be your daughter. If your daughter is raped or beaten to pulp, or they break into your home and steal from you, that is when you would realize that if we had been more responsible in the sense of whipping up the government to stand up in welfare for some of these calamities or some of these calamitous situations, then in that case, we will get to understand exactly what it is to be responsible. One person's irresponsible behavior should not cost the whole nation. No. If a man decides to have children and leave them to grow wild, we should tame them so that they don't drop bombs on us in the future by their bad training. I am going to talk about this again. Now, there is an African proverb that I like. It says, and I quote, if the village does not embrace its son, the sun will burn down the village in order to keep warm. Can I say it again? If the village does not embrace her son, the sun will burn down the village in order to keep warm. It's a powerful African proverb. Now, when we embrace people, what is the connection between an embrace and fire? They are very much interconnected. When you embrace, you feel each other's body warmth, right? Unless you are amphibians. Yes, you are poikilothermic, cold-blooded. Then, that is when you embrace, you don't feel any warmth. The warmth of love you feel when you embrace. You feel the heartbeat. Everybody needs some kind of warmth. Now, if there is no such warmth, and they need that warmth, they will burn down the whole village so they can keep warm, because it's a necessity. This is the woman we're talking about. She's called Faustina Chirema. And look at her children. They look like twins, all of them. Quintuplets. That means almost every year she was making babies. A very beautiful woman. Would a third husband come at 42? She's still fertile. Maybe she can have another 10 to make it 30. Where are the health people? Are they talking to her? Family planning. And family planning is not all about injections and swallowing pills. We have what is called coitus interruptus. Those of you who read Kama Sutra, you know what that is. Coitus interruptus. Coitus interruptus. To frame. That is what it is. To frame. That's another family planning thing. It's not very reliable, because at the zenith of all the action, you might just get stuck in there, and then you might just end up watering the garden. Hallelujah. And when the garden is watered, plants will grow. True? True? So what do you say to this woman? There are other methods, very natural methods, that could be employed. Or else, trust me, within the next 10 years, when she is 52, she would give us another 10. Her face looks very fertile. She looks like a woman who, can produce more children. But 2 husbands have died already. In the Ghanaian circles, any man who is coming to her would first and foremost have it in his mind that if 2 have gone, I could be the 3rd one. Not many men will come in and marry her. They might just come in, water the garden, and run away. But marriage might not just happen because of superstition. Thanks so much to Ibrahim Oponkruma. My brother, my sister. Ibrahim Oponkwatting has done so well. Ghana Crime Check has gone to interview this woman. Please, let us help these children so that they do not take to a life of crime. They are so innocent. They did not beg to be, born. Their fathers passed on, unfortunately. In fact, a big family like this, not even 5 kilogram rice can feed everybody. This one, if they have to eat protein, they would need a sheep every day. They eat meat. It's a big family. That is when we have to adopt. Where are the family members? I leave it here. Now the next thing I would like to look at is also from Ghana Web, and it says, Rwanda to build monument in honor of support of Ghanaian soldiers in '94 genocide. And I read, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, has disclosed that the government of Rwanda will soon begin its construction of a monument in Ghana to honor the role played by Ghanaian troops during the 1994 Rwandan genocide. Now, speaking on TV3's New Day on December 18, 2025, Blakk said the monument will be built at the Bema camp in Accra as an enduring symbol of Rwanda's gratitude to Ghana and its armed forces. This is a very, very beautiful thing. Very beautiful. It's good to build a monument. But let me suggest something. I love statues. I love to see such monuments. They are very historical and they show that we care. But please, can we extend it beyond the statue? Maybe some intelligence building for the armed forces, and would still be in honor of the 1994 genocide soldiers in action. A statue is good, but a monumental building is better. That's all I'm saying. We could build a Ghana Armed Forces library, or Ghana Armed Forces mini museum, basically for the genocide. We have one in Kumasi. I'm talking about a specialized one just for the genocide. One is going to create employment. Two is going to spread knowledge. Thirdly, it is going to be something that will be engraved in our memories as history, positive. Statues are beautiful. But aside just looking at them and remembering what people did, there isn't much we can get from a statue. But when we have a library, when we have a mini museum specializing in the said 1994 genocide, we could have skulls, bones of some of the victims in the museum. If some of the soldiers lost their lives, in fact, their military uniforms could be displayed in there. Their boots, their photographs, their stories. My brother, it will serve a better purpose than a statue. It's not been said here specifically whether it's a statue or not. It's said that it's a monument. A monument could be a statue. It could be a certain building. I am just suggesting that we should make it go beyond a statue. First and foremost, thanks so much to the Rwandan government for remembering the role that the gallant soldiers from our country contributed in the course of the 1994 genocide. The president was there. He saw what happened in his country, even though he wasn't president then. He saw it. To the gallant soldiers who were there to help fight the genocide, and to those who are standing by to rise to any such occasion anytime, we salute you and we say, Niyo. Final story I want to look at, my brother, my sister, is coming from Ghana Web, and it says President Mahama's 67% approval rating unmatched globally. And this is Global Info Analytics. Musa Dankwa, director of Global Info Analytics, has stated that President John Dramani Mahama's current approval ratings are unprecedented in global electoral trends. Speaking in an interview with Accra-based Joy Prime on Wednesday, December 7, 2025, he said new polling figures show a significant shift in public sentiments. Dankwa explained that about 66% of the voters now believe that the country is heading in the right direction. A development, he says, aligns with the strong approval numbers recorded for Mahama. Let's start from voters who believe the country is headed in the right direction. About 66% are saying that now the country is heading in the right direction. And John Mahama is approved by 67%. And there's no record anywhere in the world where somebody gets the approval, disapproval, and goes for an election and loses. Hey. Is Musa Dankwa also indirectly, gutturally, looking for a third term for Mahama? This is just tongue-in-cheek. Because Musa Dankwa says, with 67% as an approval rate or rating for John Dramani Mahama, this is unprecedented. From Addis Ababa all the way through Harare, Zimbabwe, from Ankara, Turkey, all the way through my brother, my sister, Zambia, Lusaka, Zambia. No president has ever had such an approval rating. The country is moving in the right direction, 66%. Mahama's rating alone is higher, 67%. And Musa Dankwa has been able to place and position himself as one of the most credible pollsters and statisticians we have in this country. They fought him initially. I remember my good friend Paul Adumochri shouting his name over and over. Musa Dankwa, hey, Musa Dankwa, go and learn, Musa Dankwa. And then he later, as a gentleman, came back to apologize. Musa Dankwa is very credible. Now, why I chose this is very simple. Mahama is in the right train, and he's driving the right train. He's a man people have come to love. Was it not the same Mahama who was rejected years back? Or this is his twin brother? If he was rejected a few years back and called inefficient, incompetent, the dead goat, and all those names we flung at him. Today, look at his approval rating. What did he do differently? The work that he did, that we were blind to. Thankfully, we didn't wait till he died. In his lifetime, a prophet like him, he said, the work that I did, he didn't even take credit. He said, the work that we did will speak for itself. Thankfully, his case didn't happen like Kwame Nkrumah, dead and buried before people started singing his praises. No. About 8 years after, everybody was clamoring to see him return to power. And look at him back in power. And look at what is happening. The opposition is finding it difficult to even get something to say. Bad. Because opposition in our country is always speaking ill. Yes, of the government in power. Every time. They never say good things. I hear people praising, what's his name, the gold board guy. Sammy Jemfi. Praising him. I hope that this humbles them even the more. Because these are young men in power, so brainy. If you are not careful, and a certain demon of pride enters you, that is when you draw the line between success and failure. To Mahama, congratulations. You have chosen the right team. Keep your eyes opened and look around. Mahama made a very bold decision. He chose a very youthful team. People are clamoring around him, swarming him like bees. The difference is that this time round, he is the honey that is made by the bees. So he is not taking any stings. Congratulations, President Mahama. Congratulations to your government and for the opposition. I pray you continue being there till Jesus Christ comes again. I leave you there.
Yamo